السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. إنه من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تعالى، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. أما بعد, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, we are reaching the end of this beautiful book of our Shaykh Abdul Aziz bin Baz, rahimahullah ta'ala, Essential Lessons for the Muslim Ummah. So inshallah we'll go through the remaining part of it, inshallah. He says, rahimahullah ta'ala, in the 17th lesson, he mentioned few points that Muslims, every Muslim, should be aware of. Among these points, he said, rahimahullah ta'ala, warning against shirk and against other wrongdoings, such as witchcraft, murdering, taking the money of the orphan, dealing with riba, interest. All these things Muslims, every Muslim should avoid, because all these things mentioned are major sins. Major sins. Some of them, they take a person out of the fold of Islam, such as witchcraft, magic, sorcery. So the one who practices witchcraft, sorcery, he's not a Muslim. This will take him out of the fold of Islam. So the one who practices sihr is a kafir. As Allah said in Surah Al-Baqarah regarding Harut and Marut. Those two angels, Allah sent them as a test for mankind to the people of Babylon. واتبعوا ما تتلو الشياطين على ملك وما أنزل على الملكين ببابل هاروت وماروت. Okay. So what was sent upon the Harut and Marut to the people of Babylon, Babel. So those two angels, وما يعلمان من أحد حتى يقولا إنما نحن فتنة فلا تكفر. Before they teach anyone, they would warn him and they would tell him, we are only a trial, a test for you. فلا تكفر. Don't become disbeliever by learning witchcraft. So learning the kufr, the sihr, and practicing it is kufr. فيتعلمون منهما. But the people, they learn from the two angels. ما يفرقون به بين المرء وزوجه. So they learn from these two angels witchcraft by which they can create division between a husband and his wife. They can divide them. They can ruin the marital relationship. وَمَا هُمْ بِضَارِّينَ بِهِ مِنْ أَحَدٍ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ, and they are not going to harm anyone through the witchcraft or the spell, except by Allah's leave or Allah's permission, and that is, of course, the will, which is we call al-irada al-kawniyah, or the universal will. So Allah sent those two angels as a test. So whoever learns sihr is a kafir, and they would warn him. So sihr, my dear brothers and sisters, is a major sin, and actually it is one of the nullifiers of Islam. Nullifiers of Islam, it takes a person out of the fold of Islam. Such as witchcraft, the Shaykh is saying, murdering also is a major sin, to kill innocent people. Okay. And the murder or killing in Islam fall into three categories. Intentional one, deliberate one. That means you planned and you made up your mind to kill, to commit a crime. So this is called qatlul amd. Intentionally, you committed that crime. So this is qatlul amd, the first type. Then second type is semi-intentional, shibh al-amd. It's not intentional, it is semi. What does that mean? For example, two men are fighting with their hands. They're not using weapons. And one of them hits the other, okay, in his head or somewhere, and the other one fell down dead. Normally, that hit will not kill, but it happened. So this is here, it's called shibh al-amd. He didn't intend to kill him. He didn't intend to kill him, but it happened. So here, what is the punishment? The punishment for the first type of killing is retaliation, qisas, capital punishment. So the killer has to be killed. Okay. Unless and until the what we call Ahl al-Dam, the blood owners, the family members, forgive. You say, okay, we have forgiven him, or they accept the diya or the ransom or the blood money. Second type, no, there's no qisas, there's no retaliation, there's no capital punishment, no, except the diya. And of course, you have to fast 2 consecutive months. So that's the second type of murder or killing. The third type is qatl al-khata. That means you killed by mistake. Okay. For example, you are in the forest hunting and you were aiming at the gazelle or the deer. And when you fired, a human being appeared. So the bullet, instead of going into the game, went into the body of this man, and he died. So this happened by mistake. So there's no retaliation here, there's no qisas, but you have to give the diya and fast 2 consecutive months. So this is regarding murdering. Also, the Sheikh said, taking the money of the orphan, consuming the property of an orphan, yatim. Okay, so this is a major sin. So those who consume the property of the orphans, they are devouring fire in their stomachs. Because this poor guy and the poor orphan, you are supposed to protect and save his property, not to consume his wealth. And then the riba, okay, and the riba are two types of riba. Riba nasi'a and riba al-fadl. Two types. Riba nasi'a, to take money in exchange of time, as a value of time. So the borrower comes to the money lender, and you know who were the money lenders in the past, and still today. You should know that. So the borrower takes money from the money lender, and the money lender says, you have to pay this back after 1 year, but this much. So I will charge you this much. So that additional amount of money is the value of the delay of the time. So this is called riba an-nasi'ah, which means the duration of the delay. So this is one type of riba. The second type of riba is called riba al-fadl, which means two commodities. We exchange two items, two goods, two commodities, rice with rice, wheat with wheat, barley with barley, the same crop, but with extra amount. For example, I tell you, I will give you 1 kilogram basmati rice for 2 kilograms another type of rice. Rice and rice, but the qualities are different. So this type of transaction is riba. Some might say, but this is a good quality. Yes. But we should not exchange the same quality, rice with rice, even if the quality is different, with the difference in the amount. So you can have different transactions. Okay, I buy this basmati rice, this good quality rice, separate. And then another deal, another transaction. But rice with rice, and with extra amount, this is riba al-fadl. Riba al-fadl. Date with date, with extra amount, is also called riba al-fadl. So these are the two types of riba that were practiced at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. And both of them are prohibited. Today's riba is worse than the riba in the Jahiliyyah. Because what is the riba today the banks are doing is the combination of the two. The combination of the two types of riba. It is riba fadl and riba nasiya at the same time. How's that? For example, when you ask the bank for a loan, they tell you, okay, we'll lend you this amount and we'll charge you, this is the interest rate. They call it interest when it is riba, usually. Even the Bible prohibits that. So this is known. So this is riba nasiya. You charge me for the time delay, for the duration. Then, how is it also considered as riba al-fadl? To understand that what the banks are doing is also riba al-fadl, is to go back about the history of money. Money, actually, what you see now here, the paper money, and now in the future it will phase out, and it will be, and it is already, the plastic money is there, the credit card, and then now the bitcoins are coming, and it will be just digital money. You don't feel anything. Anyway, so this is how they play with us. As Muslims, we have to go back to gold and silver. You give me cash. Anyway, so, because it is a joke, my dear brothers and sisters, you have this amount of money. This is your balance. Where is it? Yeah, number, you see, number. That's it. Where is it? Where's that money? Can I have it? So, and they will tell you, okay, use this card. You have their card with you. Whatever you want, use it. So in the past, this paper money which we have, for any country, they have to deposit equivalent amount of gold in the bank. So this piece of paper has equivalent amount of gold deposited for it. Okay? So actually, when you take this note, it represents a certain amount of gold. So the bank gave me, let's say, 1,000. This 1,000 is equivalent to 5 grams of gold. And then he asked me to pay the bank back the 1,500 or 1,300, which is equivalent, let's say, to 8 grams of gold. So he gave me 5 grams of gold and he's taking 8 grams of gold. So it is riba fadl. So what the banks are doing is the combination of the two. Nowadays, the currency is not linked only to gold and silver, linked to other things. So anyway, so this is riba. And whoever deals with riba is actually, he's in war with Allah, and Allah wages war towards those who deal with riba. And Muslims are drowning in the riba. If we are drowning in riba, how do you expect Allah to help us? How do you expect him when you are fighting him, subhanahu wa ta'ala? Then the Shaykh said, rahimahullah ta'ala, also among the things that Muslims should avoid is escaping, to run away from the battlefield. Escaping on the day of jihad. This is what we call at-tawalli yawm al-zahf, to run away, to give the enemies your back, and that is a major sin. To run away. You run away from the battlefield, it is a major sin. It's a major sin. A mujahid should not run away from the battlefield, should face his enemies and win one of the two, either victory or martyrdom. Then, speaking evil of faithful women, this is also another major sin Muslims should avoid and should not do, which we call qadhf al-muhsanat, to talk evil about the most chaste women, Muslim women. So, mu'minat, you should not talk about them. That's why if a person accuses a woman, a Muslim woman, and says she is this and that, okay, regarding her honor, then he will be lashed, he will be punished, he will be flogged, and his testimony will not be accepted anymore. Also, among the major sins, disobeying parents. So, to be undutiful to your parents is a major sin. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after he commanded us to worship him, he commanded us to be obedient to our parents. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا قَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. So your Lord decreed that you worship him alone and then be kind to your parents. So disobeying the parents is a major sin. Also, breaking up with one's relatives, this is qat' al-rahim, to cut the ties of kith and kin, okay, the ties of your kindred. So cutting the ties of your relatives with no valid reason, legal reason, Shari'i reason, Islamic reason, it is a major sin. No two Muslims should cut relationship with each other and stop talking to each other for more than 3 nights. And the first one, the best one of them is the one who resumes and normalize the relationship. Also among the major sins which the Shaykh is warning us against is false witnessing, false testimony, to testify in the court and give false witnessing. To say, yes, at this time, this person was in my house. He was with me. When you know you are lying. He was in the scene of the crime and he committed that crime. So this type of witnessing is called Yamin Ghamus. This is an oath that you have given with there is no expiation for it, as the ulama said. That's why they call it Ghamus. They said the only expiation for it is to be dipped and immersed, okay, in the hellfire. That's the expiation for it. Also, among the major sins here, he said harming neighbors. So to harm your neighbor is a major sin. Major sin. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, remember, how do you know that this sin is major? They say, the ulama, they say, there is no number that limits the major sins. They are not 7, as mentioned in the hadith. اتقوا السبع الموبقات, avoid the 7 major sins or destroy it. That is just an example. That's why the ulama, they have written many books like Zahabi, the book of Kaba'ir, Ibn Hajar al-Haytami, etc. So they're saying they are closer to the 700 rather than 7. So how do I recognize that this is a major sin? So they said, any sin that it has a prescribed punishment, had, like the theft, you cut the hand, adultery, if he's married, stoning, if he's unmarried, flogging, lashing, murder, if it is intentional murder, retaliation, qisas, capital punishment. So any sin that has a prescribed punishment, it has had as a major sin. Any sin that Allah curses its perpetrator is a major sin. So any sin where Allah curses the doer of that sin, it is a major sin. Like, for example, the women who لعن الله الواصلة والمستوصلة والنامصة والمستنمصة والواشمة والمستوشمة والمتبلجات للحسن المغيرات لخلق الله. So these 4 categories are cursed. Allah cursed them. الواصلة والمستوصلة. This woman who prolongs her hair by wearing artificial hair. She is cursed. And also the one who does that to her, the beautician. Both of them are cursed. والواشمة والمستوشمة. The one who's tattooed and the tattooer. The one who is doing it. And those who file their teeth, women, they file their teeth to keep gaps. Also, they are cursed. So here that means And those who pluck their eyebrows, they are cursed. So plucking eyebrows is a major sin. Wearing artificial hair is a major sin. Filing the teeth is a major sin. So any sin that brings upon its perpetrator, its doer, Allah's curse, it is a major sin. So harming neighbors is a major sin. So any sin prescribes punishment, or Allah curses its doer, or its doer, the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever does this has no iman, negation of the iman, it is a major sin. Like, for example, when the Prophet ﷺ said, Wallahi la yu'min, Wallahi la yu'min, Wallahi la yu'min. Man lam ya'man jaruhu bawa'iqahu. He's not a believer, he's not a believer, he's not a believer. The one whose neighbor is not saved from his nuisance, from his harm, from his evil. So harming and disturbing the neighbors is a major sin. Also, if the Prophet ﷺ said, the one who does this is not from us, then that means it is a major sin. Like when the Prophet ﷺ said, Man ghashana falaysa minna. He who cheats us is not from us. He who does not respect the elders is not from us. He who does not respect the ulama and know and give them the due respect is not from us. So it is a major sin. So this is a major sin, my dear brothers and sisters, and you need to avoid that. Also, he said, rahimahullah ta'ala, and committing outrage upon others. Okay, this is also a major sin. So all these things, and these are just examples the Shaykh rahimahullah ta'ala said, mentioned. That's why he said, and other warnings as declared by Allah and His Messenger. And the final lesson, he said, rahimahullah ta'ala, he's talking, this is subhanallah, the Shaykh rahimahullah ta'ala, see, he started with you from the beginning, those who started with this book with us. They know from the beginning with how you start your salah and your iman and the importance of the Quran and the ayat you should memorize, all these things. And now he's concluded with the death, al-maut, with death, and how we should prepare ourselves and how we should give the burial wash and the shrouding and the funeral prayer for the dead. So he said, washing the dead body and performing the janazah prayer or the funeral prayer. Washing the dead. So when a Muslim is confirmed dead, and how do we confirm that he is dead? The definition of death in Islam is when the soul leaves the body. It's not when the heart stops. It's not when the person is in a state of coma or what they call it, clinical death. No. As long as a person, he can breathe, he's alive. What if we are saying what is the breathing and things is because of the machine? In that case, if the doctor decided and said that the brain is dead, okay, and what you see here because of the machine, life support machine. So in this case, we switch the machine, switch off the machine, and let him breathe normally until the soul leaves the body and he dies. So that is the definition of death in Islam. So when a Muslim is confirmed dead, his eyes must be closed because the sight follows the soul. So when you die, you see your soul when it is coming out, and you can see on the YouTube people dying and how they look up like that. So when a Muslim is confirmed dead, his eyes must be closed and his jaws brought together. You close and put the jaws together. That's why you find people do like this, and they tie a band around the jaw, because when the soul leaves the body, everything becomes loose. So when washing the dead body, the whole body, beginning with the exposed part of ablution, must be washed first. So the person who's going to give the burial wash, first of all, should be trustworthy, should be pious, should be professional. And if he sees good signs, he can mention. If he sees bad signs, he should not disclose. Because some people, when they die, they are good signs, mashallah, tabarakallah. A brother just told me his wife passed away. When they were washing her, she raised her finger. The shahad. She raised her finger. So her daughter said, "My mother is alive." He said, "No, she's not alive. But this is a sign, alhamdulillah." Okay, so when washing the dead body, the whole body, beginning with the exposed part, so the person, of course, has to wear gloves, and you don't see and look at the awra, the private part of the deceased. When you're washing from, you're covering, and there is a sheet, and you don't look and you don't see. So you give the ablution to the dead. The abdomen is gently squeezed so that the waste will come out, because now everything, as I mentioned, is loose. The anus is open. So when you press gently, the waste will come out from your stomach and it will be washed away. Otherwise, it will come out when you are carrying the body, and bad smell will come out and it will spoil everything. So that's why they press gently, squeeze, and followed by washing of the anus and the sexual organs using a wet piece of cloth. Normal ablution then be performed. After we clean and everything comes out, you give the deceased normal wudu. The body is washed starting with the head and beard for the man, using water mixed with leaves of cedar, which is the leaves of the lut tree. Lut tree. They take the leaves, they dry them, they crush them, and it became powder, and then they mix it with water, and it will become just like the soap. And it is very, very good. Even you can use it. It is very nice, good smell, good for your hair. If your hair is falling, or for the ladies, and you have dandruff, etc., it's very nice. It's very good. Okay, with the leaves of cedar, the lut tree, if available. If it's not available, then soap will do, but it is better that we use that. The right side must be washed before the left side. So you start with washing the right side, according to the Sunnah. And the body must be washed 3 times, and can be more. For example, if you feel there is a need to wash it more than 3 times, no harm. It's better that you make the number of washes, of times of washing, odd, which is. Each time the abdomen is squeezed as above, so that for anything to come out. The mustache and the nails are clipped. This is what the Shaikh is saying, rahimahullah ta'ala. And shaving, no, you don't shave. For example, the pubic hair is there and we don't shave. And when the body is clean, it is wrapped in 3 white cotton sheets. So we wrap the body with 3 cotton sheets, white sheets, covering all parts of the body and perfumed with incense, with the bukhur and with camphor. There is camphor, kafur is better. And the reason that we put the camphor, the kafur, the ulama, they said, it expels the insects in the grave. The insects, when they smell this, the smell of the camphor, they don't come near to the body. So the body decays naturally. If the body is still unclean, ablution must be extended to 5 to 7 times, after which the body is dried with a clean cloth. Men's hair should not be combed, the hair of the man, we don't comb it, while that of a woman is to be braided into 3 chains, into 3 locks. So the hair of the a woman should be braided into 3 locks and left hanging down behind. So 3 locks and you throw it behind. Listen to this, sister. Learn how to get burial wash. Okay? It is preferred to shroud men with 3 white sheets without a gown or imama, the turban, head cover. So 3 white sheets. Children also in 1 up to 3 sheets, and women in 5 sheets. Women more than the man, 5 sheets. The direct, which is loose out garment with sleeves, okay, slit in front, so that is the direct. Khimar, covering of the head, like a scarf, covering head and face, that means going around the face. And of course, the face finally, which will be covered. 2 overall wrapping sheets. And the young girls can be wrapped with a gown and 2 sheets, small ones. The one who has the most right to wash the dead body of a man is his chosen guardian. Those who have the right to give the burial wash are the heirs and those who are very close to the deceased, like his children. So the one who has the most right to wash the dead body of a man is his chosen guardian, if any. His father, his grandfather. Okay, so the children, not children, the father, the grandfather can give the burial wash. Then the closest of his relatives. So this is how we go. Your children, he doesn't have children, the father of the deceased or the grandfather of the deceased, or then anyone of the relatives. He doesn't have any relatives, any Muslim. The woman is best washed by her chosen female. That means her mother. Your mother will give you the burial wash, grandmother. Then the closest one of her female relatives, her daughters. Okay. The husband can wash the body of his wife and vice versa. A husband can wash his wife, the body of his wife, and a woman can wash the body of her husband. Because Abu Bakr as-Siddiq was washed by his wife. His wife, I think, Asma bint Umays, was washed by his wife, and Ali bin Abi Talib washed his wife Fatima. So it is halal, it is permissible to wash the husband to wash the body of his wife, and the wife to wash the body of her husband. Some schools, like the Hanafi schools, in the Hanafi madhab, a husband cannot wash his wife. Neither husband can wash his wife, cannot wash his wife, nor a wife can wash her husband. And their argument is that what made the body of each other halal what made for each one of them to see the body of the other halal, permissible, is the marriage contact, the wedlock. And now, after the death, that wedlock is not valid anymore, so they cannot touch the body of each other and see the body of each other. So their evidence actually is rational. Rational is not an evidence from the Kitab and Sunnah. And the Kitab and Sunnah refutes them. Okay, refutes them. So this opinion is invalid, and it is a weak opinion, because the Prophet ﷺ, he told Aisha when he came one day and he found her having headache, saying, "Oh, I have a headache." He said, "Me too, I have a headache." And then he told her, "Oh, Aisha, what do you think if you die? I will give you, and I wash you. I wash you." So the Prophet ﷺ is telling us he can wash his wife. And this is Abu Bakr was washed by his wife. And this is Ali, he washed his wife. What to do with this? Okay. So don't become stubborn and blind follower. Okay. A faqih, a scholar, said something according to his understanding, according to his ijtihad, he will be rewarded once, but we don't follow. And that's what all the four imams say. If you come across a hadith that goes against what I have said, that is my madhab, follow it and leave what I have said. The funeral prayer or salat al-janazah. Okay? So you say the takbir, Allahu Akbar, 4 times, reciting after the first one, the Fatiha, Allahu Akbar, and then you recite the Fatiha, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Following the second takbir, one praise for the Prophet ﷺ, which is like in the tashahhud, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. Then after saying Allahu Akbar for the 3rd time, one recites what is usually said in other prayers, like asking Allah to forgive our Muslims or any supplications he knows. And if you can memorize this dua, it's better. Allahumma aghfir lahayyina wa mayyitna wa shahidna wa ghaibna wa saghirana wa kabirana wa dhakarna wa unthana. Allahumma nahyaytahu man ahyaytahu minna fahih ala al-islam wa man tawaffaytahu minna fatawaffahu ala al-iman. Allahumma la tahrimna ajra wa la tudillina ba'da. And this is authentic hadith in Sunan Abi Dawood, Ibn Majah, and Musnad Ahmad. Which means, oh Allah, grant forgiveness to our living and to our dead, and to those who are present and to those who are absent, and to our young and our folk, our people, and to our males and our females. Oh Allah, whomsoever you grant to live from among us, help him to live in Islam, and whomsoever of us you cause to die, help him to die in faith. Oh Allah, do not deprive us of the reward for patience on his or her loss, and do not make us subject to trial after him. And the other dua, Allahumma ighfir lahu warhamhu wa'afih واعف عنه واكرم نزله ووسع مدخله واغسله بالماء والثلج والبرد ونقه من الخطايا كما ينقى الثوب الابيض من الدنس وابدله دارا خيرا من داره واهلا خيرا من اهله وزوجا خيرا من زوجه وادخله الجنه واعذه من عذاب القبر ومن عذاب النار. Oh Allah, forgive him, or her, or them, if they are a group, many people there in the janazah, dead, many dead bodies, and have your mercy upon him, protect him, and pardon him. This is what you say, you pray for the deceased. Receive him with honor. Oh Allah, receive him with honor. That means receive his soul with honor. And make his grave spacious. Wash him with water, snow, and hail. Okay, and these are the three types of water. Either they are snow, or liquid form, or snow, or hail. And clean him from his sins and wrongdoings. As is clean a white garment from impurity, in the same way, clean him and cleanse his sin, so that he will, just in the same way, a white sheet will be a garment, is cleaned from any impurity. Requite him with an abode. Reward him with a resting place, an abode more excellent than his abode and his rest place in the dunya, and with a mate better than his mate. A mate there in the Jannah, the Huriyah, better than his wife here in the dunya. Admit him to the garden and protect him from the torment of the grave, because the punishment of the grave is haqq, is true. And the torment of the fire, widen his space, O Allah, widen his space in his grave and bring him light therein. O Allah, deprive us, do not deprive us from his reward. That means the reward of attending his funeral prayer. And do not let us go astray after him. Which means when you attend the janazah, you get reminded and you receive admonition. So this is why the Prophet ﷺ told us to visit the graveyard, so that you will be reminded. So when you attend the janazah, you have to keep in mind, one day you will be there. So, and do not let us go astray after him. Then after saying Allahu Akbar for the fourth time, one turns his head to the right, making taslim, and thus ending the funeral prayer. So, taslim once to the right, that is sunnah. And if you make taslim to both sides, that's okay. The author is saying it is best to raise one's hand while saying Allahu Akbar. So each time you raise, as Ibn Umar used to do that. And if you don't raise, that is fine, because there is no explicit evidence that the Prophet ﷺ used to raise, except the what Ibn Umar did, radiallahu anhuma. In the case when the dead is a child or an infant, the following dua is made. Allahumma ij'alhu dhukhran liwalidayhi wa faratan wa shafi'an mujaba. Allahumma a'zim bihi ujurahuma wa thaqil bihi mawazinahuma wa alhiqhu bi salih salaf al-mu'minin waj'alhu fi kifalati Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam wa qihi bi rahmatika adhab al-jahim. Oh Allah, make him a preceding reward and a reserved treasure on the day of resurrection for his parents. Those children, we call them al-afrat, when they die before reaching the age of puberty, my dear brothers and sisters, they are there waiting for you, and they will intercede for you. Those children will be at the gates of the Jannah. If their parents are in the hellfire, they remain there. The angels will tell them, go inside. They say, now bring our parents. And Allah will tell the angels, bring out their parents. So your child who died is waiting for you there, ahead of you. That's why a reserved treasure for you. Oh Allah, make of him an excess in the measure and in the rewards granted by Allah Azza wa Jal to his parents. Well, that means, oh Allah, reward the parents immensely. Let him join the company of the righteous believers and make him under the care of Ibrahim alayhi salam, and protect him by your mercy from the torment of the blazing fire. The position of the Imam in the funeral prayer. Where do you stand? The Sunnah, my dear brothers and sisters, okay, if the deceased is a man, you face the head. Okay? The head. That's how you stand. The tradition is for the Imam to stand right next to the head of the body if it is a man, and to the middle of the body if it is a woman. If there are men and women, male and female, and children in one funeral, the following positions are to be taken. You put the men, then the children, male children, then the woman behind that. So the male children are between the men and women and more towards the men, while the female children follow women after. And if they are okay, man, boy, girl, woman, so put the man, the boy, the woman, and then the girl behind the woman. So this is the Sunnah, and this brings us, my dear brothers and sisters, to the end of this book. May Allah Azza wa Jal shower His mercy and blessings upon the soul of our Shaykh Abdul Aziz bin Baz rahimahullah ta'ala, and may Allah elevate his status in Jannat al-Na'im, and may Allah make him among the inhabitants of Al-Firdaus al-A'la, Ameen. And may Allah make him in the company of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman and Ali. Ameen. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us remain steadfast on this beautiful deen, al-Islam. May Allah Azza wa Jal forgive us our faults and mistakes and ignorance. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide our ummah to the haqq, ameen, and unite our hearts in the haqq, ameen. And may Allah reward all of you, my dear brothers and sisters, immensely for your patience and attendance. Barakallahu feekum, jazakumullahu khayra, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallahu khairan, Sheikh, for your beneficial speech. Now I request brothers and sisters, if you have any question, please post it on the chat box. Inshallah, Sheikh will answer the question.
By the way, my dear brothers and sisters, tomorrow we are starting a new book, and it is the etiquette of the students of knowledge, inshallah.
There is a question, Sheikh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, Sheikh. How to pray for living person as almost about to die, suffering a lot of pain, as doctor gave up the answer about the life of a person.
Akhi,
So
it's not clear to me. Can you slowly articulate?
okay, Sheikh. How to pray for living person as almost about to die. Uh, can you, is this question is somewhat not clear, Sheikh. How to pray for living person as almost about to die, suffering a lot of pain, as doctor gave up.
Okay, I got it now. How to pray for a person who's dying. A person who's dying, okay, and he's suffering. Okay, so we just keep making dua, asking Allah Azza wa Jal to make it to ease his death, and to make his soul to come out easily, and to take his soul to Jannat al-Na'im, and to forgive him for his sins and his mistakes. So that's how we pray for the deceased when we know someone is dying. Someone is dying. And regarding maybe the question I was asking or hinting about Surah Yasin, can we read Surah Yasin? Because they say reading Surah Yasin helps the deceased to die peacefully. The hadith of Yasin, اقرأوا ياسين على موتاكم, it's actually a weak hadith. It is a weak hadith. So we cannot use that as an evidence, because we know that our deen is, Allah said, the Prophet said. So something we are not sure, and the Prophet ﷺ, many of the Sahaba passed away, and there's no authentic narration says that he read Surah Yasin. Next question, please.
Jazakallahu khairan, Sheikh. Next question is, what is dirham and dinar?
Dirham and dinar, the gold, and those two coins that were available in the past, and they were actually a Romans currency. Then later on, the Muslims, they coined and minted their own currencies. But so the dinar is a piece of gold. Okay, so that is the dinar. The dirham, piece of silver. It's made of two coins. One is gold, dinar. The other one is silver, called dirham. Next.
Jazakallahu khairan, Sheikh. Next question is ghusl compulsory for dead? But many people think it's not necessary to give ghusl. What can be done in that case? Is ghusl compulsory for dead?
But the
Many
dead,
people,
it is compulsory, yes. And I don't think so any Muslim dies and Muslim they don't get burial wash. So what is the question? When a deceased, a Muslim dies, we give him burial wash. So what the questioner is trying to say? What is the question exactly?
is ghusl compulsory for dead? But many people think it's not possible to give ghusl. What can be done in that case?
It's not possible. Why it's not possible? For example, if a person is burnt, many of the parts are burnt, so we cannot touch the water there. So the ulama, they say, the parts that we can wash, we should wash. Or that's now COVID-19. Okay, COVID-19, this should not stop us from giving the burial wash. Okay, so there are protections, there are certain gears, protective gears we can wear, and we give the burial wash to the dead. Alhamdulillah. But let's say something happened to the body, like the body was burnt, so most of it is already burnt. So if we wash it, the body will start to turn into pieces. So here, the ulama, they say what we can wash, and that's it. And اتقوا الله ما استطعتم, fear Allah to the best of your ability. Any more questions?
Yes, Sheikh.
Okay,
What
so
is the
we'll repeat.
what?
We'll repeat after the adhan and we'll continue, inshallah.
Okay.
Yes, Akhi.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, Sheikh. I want to know what kind of act is an act of sihr. For example, blowing in the air by reading certain ayat to ease situation makes a person sahir.
To read what? Blown in the air with the ayat Qur'aniyah.
Ayat Qur'aniyah, does it make a person sahir?
No, that will not make him sahir. For example, if you read on someone who's possessed or sick, so you are reading and you blow in the man, on that person, okay, that is not going to make you sahir. No, the sihr is you are dealing with the shayateen, actually. So the sihr, those who deal with the jinn. But to read on someone, this is called nafs. You blow, read and blow, that's okay. That is permissible. And that's what Sayyidina Abu Sa'id al-Khudri did when the man was bitten by the snake. So he was reading Surah Al-Fatiha and he was also blowing on the wound, and the man was spitting on the wound, and the man was healed instantaneously. Okay, but to deal with the jinn, those who are dealing with the jinn, those are using witchcraft. Next.
Sheikh told if you break the ties, there should be any Sharia reason. What can be that reason?
Okay, yes. For example, those relatives, they are, for example, dealing with the witchcraft, for example. They are known, they are practicing sihr, for example. So I cannot visit them because they might harm me or harm my children, etc. So I can maintain the relationship by advising them and calling them on the phone and things, rather than visiting them. Okay, or they are doing any other evil things. Okay, so you cut the ties with them, so you made what they call hajr, and you abandon them. So there are valid reasons in the Sharia. Whether that person is doing haram or something, for example, anything that goes against the Sharia and anything that displeases Allah and they are doing, for that reason you boycott them. Okay, if there is a benefit in that, that is, you have valid reason. Okay, for example, nowadays weddings. Okay, this is the wedding of my brother or my sister or my cousin, and it is a mixed wedding. Okay, so I don't go. You don't go. They will get upset, and they might cut the ties with you, and they will not want to see you. That's okay. You should not cut relationship from your side. You try to visit them. Even if they close the door and slam the door and they don't allow you in, that's okay. Because you didn't go because you have valid reason. There are haram stuff in that wedding, music, free mixing, etc. Is this clear to the questioner?
Yes, sir. Jazakallahu khairan.
Or they are alcoholic. Those relatives, they are alcoholic. They drink alcohol. You don't go to them. Next question.
That's it, Sheikh. Jazakallahu khairan. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us opportunity to learn from Sheikh. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us more opportunities in the future. Jazakallahu khairan. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
Barakallahu feek. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.